make sure everything's clear because I know I'll have some questions on this. If you hadn't seen the other videos, the first thing is any rusty metal that has any kind of a rust problem that I'm worried about, it gets this right here. This Rustoleum Rust Reformer. Works great, leaves a black, flat black finish that can be primered and painted. Honestly, I've used lots of different versions of this, and this one to me is the easiest and works the best. Very hard to take off once you put it on there, but it's a lot like the coating that comes on body shop panels when you get them when they're brand new. The second thing, I just showed you what I just put on there, is for any areas that are bare metal or that, and again, I like to use the same product underneath everything so I don't have any reactions, but it just so happened I found this etching primer from Krylon that goes on really good. Yeah, it's an OD green color, and hopefully I don't think I'm going to have any bleed problems when I put the white primer on there. I haven't seen anything so far, but again, anything that's bare metal or has any body work that I'm worried about anything bleeding through, this is basically what I'm using as a primer sealer. So this Krylon etch and primer. And then after that, it gets the 2X Rustoleum. This is the flat white primer that you see on there. Again, very high build. I'm primering the whole car in this, and then I'm block sanding it out. A little bit slow on the dry time. You probably need, even though it says you can top coat it like within a few minutes of spraying it, it also says wait like 72 hours to top coat it if you don't top coat it initially when you're putting it on. I find it's still a little tacky, so I'm letting it dry at least 72 hours, then I'm wet sanding the whole car, and then what I'm going to do is shoot it with this. So the 2X, again, I know there's a lot of questions about why I'm doing all this body and paint work like I would a professional paint job, and then I'm putting Rustoleum on it, but I'll get to that here in a second. But I'm using the 2X gloss white. You can use any color you want. They make a bunch of different colors in this 2X. It is shown as being paint plus primer, so I guess the way it's designed, you wouldn't have to actually put primer underneath it. I am, for this application, actually primering everything out so I can wet sand it first. But again, very high build. I would guesstimate, I've painted a lot of cars with automotive paint. This is my first go at painting anything with Rustoleum. But I would say build-wise, as far as the mill thickness, I would say it's probably at least twice as thick as automotive paint as far as build and mill thickness. I would say, and I'm putting a minimum of 3 coats of this on as a base to make sure I've got great coverage. And of course I'm using a white primer, so it's not opaque and nothing shows through. But again, very high build. Don't see any sand scratches on the panels that I've painted already. I've already painted about half this car with it. The parts that I took off, the fenders, the hood, the deck lid, they're already painted. And then on top of this, you've probably seen it online if you've watched any other videos. I'm using the 2K Spray Max Automotive. It is hardened automotive clear. You pull the cap out the top. You can look at these online. You shove it in the bottom, you crack the can. It's good for about 17 hours mixed. I would use it before then just so it doesn't start to harden inside the can. But again, this on top of the Rustoleum as a base makes it basically an automotive paint, because this has UV protectants. This is hardened paint. Again, dry time, I'm doing about 5 to 10 minutes between the coats of Rustoleum, and then about 20 minutes before I apply the clear coat on top of that. And to be honest, it's a beautiful finish. If you look at some of my other videos, and you'll see when I finish this car, it comes out great. And then I'm gonna wet sand and buff the whole entire car after it's finished. But again, why am I doing this? I guess is probably one of the first questions. I didn't want several reasons. I didn't want to spend the expense. I paid $1,000 for this convertible. I didn't want to spend, several thousand on a paint job, even though probably I would not recommend, and I may change my mind by the time I'm finished with this, but I wouldn't recommend doing an entire paint job with Rustoleum cans, because it can get pricey. It can add up. Obviously, a small car like this is fine, but a bigger car, I probably wouldn't recommend it. It's too tough to paint a panel even the size of this door right here without messing it up. But again, I wanted to do it. I wanted to see how it turned out. I wanted to keep the cost low. I will probably have in the $250 range total. Now, I did get a deal on this 2K. Honestly, I bought this off of Amazon, and it was on special for half price. So instead of paying $20 to $25 a can, I paid $12 a can for it, and I got several cases of it. So I've got enough to do a couple of cars. But for this one, again, it's going to get at least 3 coats of base, which will be the Rustoleum, and then it's going to get at least 3 coats of the clear. And again, this is probably not as high build as the Rustoleum, but the Rustoleum is probably the equivalent of putting 6 coats of automotive paint on, just because of how high build it is. But again, happy with what I've painted so far. It looks great, and we'll continue on and we'll show you the finished product. So keep following my videos. We'll show you the finished product when we're all done. So anyway, that's about all I got for today. Thanks for stopping by.